were standing in front of the city and like this glowing opening to the city, and you're standing there with like your survival pack on, like you're adventuring.
Oh!
I really liked it. And then you were like, gone! I was like, no, wait a second!
I'm sorry. Off to Earth now, see you sometime later. Bye!
Boom. Pulls that rope.
Ace, Johnson, Fujio, Prince, Nick, blah, blah, blah,
Ah!
blah. Ichigo, Nick. Strawberries.
We ate strawberries.
We did! They were really tasty. Strawberries and vanilla ice cream.
French vanilla ice cream.
Oh, because we're getting all fancy up in this place.
That's what we finished our salmon and vegetable meal with.
Yes.
I had more vegetables than you.
You did. That's okay.
Seriously creeping me out right now.
Do I really have to look at them rubbing at each other?
They're not quite rubbing at each other, but, this is a little disturbing.
Little bit. What a delectable little place. Would you not say that when I'm in front of a sumo wrestler's crotch? Thank you.
You can come and enjoy it then.
Oh, the Katamari. Oh, 10 minutes. Alright, this is a whole episode level. This is a big one.
It's a good thing that we started a new one.
Yeah, really. Okay. Half a kilometer in 10 minutes. Let's
go!
Oh! Banana, banana. Banana, banana. Banana.
I don't recognize this song.
No, me neither.
That was a cat and a melon.
It's a catamelon, not a Katamari.
Oh, yes.
No, get out of my way.
Oh, the lady just stands there like, there's this 1.5 tall thing bumping against my legs and doesn't even care.
90 centimeters is a foot and a half? I'm drunk now. 90 centimeters is a foot and a half?
It was like 3 feet. I was estimating based on where it was on her knees when you were running into her.
Oh, well, maybe she's exceptionally tall.
Well, I mean, when you looked at the 90 centimeters, that was a little bit after, too. I don't know how big you were when you started. But anyway.
Woo!
Point is that she didn't react at all. She's like,
yeah, this is a thing happening. This is normal in Japan.
Yeah, right, I forgot. They're in Japan.
True. It's all you need to know. Katamari makes sense because Japan.
They see this shit all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's what anime would have me believe. You can learn everything about Japan from anime.
And video games.
Anime and video games. And guess what we're playing now? It's in a video game. It must be accurate.
Exactly. It's funny, though. I know you can't learn everything from anime, and it depends greatly on what anime you watch.
Yeah, and what you want to learn.
But the people who bitch that they know so much about Japan and say you can't learn anything about it from anime, I'm like, fuck you. You have no idea how much I've learned about Japan from anime.
Yeah. And I have met some people who think they know stuff about Japan from anime. And it's fascinating the way their minds go.
Yeah, it's largely little things that I've picked up. For the most part, and a lot of cultural stuff. And sometimes I don't even know necessarily what the reason is behind it, but I picked up a lot of little things. But one of the ones that I picked up that I remember was, it confused the shit out of me when I first started watching anime, and all the time you'd have these characters that fought constantly, and everybody would be like, oh wow, you guys get along really well, don't you? And I'd be like, are you stupid? And then, as time went on and I got more used to how people were presented in anime and things like that, I started to catch on that a part of why they say that or feel that way is because so often you don't speak that freely around someone you don't get along with because you're too busy being polite. Right? So it started to click that maybe that was part of why.
Yeah.
That they were like, oh, you guys must get along really well because you fight with somebody you're close to.
Yeah. You don't like them and you're not close to them, you're coldly distant.
So it
or
just...
an asshole.
Yeah, but, I mean, there's obviously variations, but it struck me that that might be part of why that seems to be so prevalent.
That and frenemies seems to be a big theme in Japanese stuff. I don't know why.
It does, but,
People still say frenemies?
I don't know. It's in the dictionary now.
Is it really?
I think so.
That's cool.
Frenemies and bromance are both in the dictionary. They've been for a few years now.
Frenemies like you? Who needs ends?
Yep. Yeah, the frenemies thing I can kind of see too, but like when you're talking about slice of life stuff, and like people are behaving more how they actually behave in normal life.
Yeah.
Yeah, there may even be more to it than that, but you start to just sort of pick up on a few little things like that. I know there's other stuff that's more obvious. And especially when I pick it up, like, I'd see it in slice of life stuff, and then I see the same stuff represented in, like, fantasy things. Kind of like how here in North America we take some of our own cultural stuff, and even when you're writing something pretend in a fantasy world, it still carries over.
Yeah.
So, like, when I saw little things like that, I could usually tell that it's something that actually occurs a lot in the culture.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can learn stuff about other places through their media. That's, actually kind of a good way to learn some stuff. You just have to not be stupid about it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not gonna name names, but I used to work with someone who, big anime fan, like, big general, like, Japanophile. And, it was a little bit weird to realize that despite the fact he'd visited Japan multiple times, watched anime all the time, it, like, subtitled stuff and dubbed stuff as well, he didn't know a word of Japanese. Like, beyond maybe a couple of badly pronounced basic greetings kind of thing. And he was telling me about this new anime he watched called, Chunibu. And he was telling me the concept behind it, and apparently it's, you know, when just about all kids in Japan get to the 8th grade, they basically start having these delusions that they're anime characters and superheroes, and it's all about that, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's not actually how it happens in Japan. He's like, no, this happens all the time. And so I tried to piece together what the fuck he might have been talking about. Because this is a guy who thinks he knows shit about Japan, because he's been there and he watches anime. And likely what he was talking about was chunibyo, which kinda translates to, like, 8th year disease kind of thing. But basically, the gist of it is when you hit adolescence, you try and emulate a lot of characters in media that you like. So, it's basically called being a teenager?
I was gonna say, it's called being 14 years old.
Yeah, we do that here. It's called ideation. It is not a Japanese cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
Phenomenon. Phenomenet. Phenomenon.
Do-do-do-do-do. Phenomenon.
But yeah, like this, you know, that I think
it's not exclusive to Japan.
Yeah, when people say you can't learn shit from anime, I think that's the kind of person that they've only ever encountered. They've never actually looked at someone who is interested in culture, is interested in language, has the ability to put this shit together. They're just like, oh yeah, I saw a thing in an anime. It happened in Japan, so this must always happen in Japan. It's like looking at The Simpsons and assuming that's what American life is like all the time.
Yeah, like, I remember us being in high school, I wasn't into anime and stuff then, but I remember one of our groups saying, they literally have no word for no, and I was like, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
But yeah, and granted, the people who watch some anime and think they know everything about Japan, who don't, there does seem to be a lot of them. For some reason, they seem to be a lot louder than the ones that actually do learn some stuff.
Yeah.
And the other one that bugs me is they're like, you'll never learn Japanese well enough to speak it well. And I'm like, okay, just because you can't doesn't mean nobody can. Calm down. Like, who the hell made you king of languages?
Seriously.
Because that's another thing I've picked up from animes. Some very rudimentary Japanese.
Yeah. Most of the Japanese I know I've picked up through watching J-dramas and anime and listening to music.
You know more than I do.
So, yeah.
And I can pick out little things. I know enough, especially when I go on a long watching spree, I know enough that I can occasionally pick out different tonal things. And sometimes even if I don't know the words, I can pick out some meaning because of that.
Yeah.
It's not great. Like, I would be utterly lost in a conversation, no doubt.
Yeah.
But really basic stuff I can sometimes catch.
Yeah.
And that's purely just watching anime. That is no lessons, nothing else at all.
Yeah.
But, of course, too, there's other things, like, I already have 2 languages, and they say it's easier to pick up on stuff like that. If you've learned another language. And some people, it's just not a talent that they have, which is fine.
Yeah, totally. Just don't pretend it is.
And don't pretend that because you don't have it, nobody else can.
Yeah.
That's just stupid.
Now, learning another language at all is absolutely difficult, and for a non-native
sure. And the later
speaker...
you start, the harder it is.
Yeah, exactly. For a non-native speaker, especially if you start in, like, your teenage years or adulthood, you may never be fluent unless you basically have, like, you go there and speak it every day.
It depends on a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know, it depends on your skill, it depends on the amount you're willing to devote to it, it depends on if you can practice it,
Yeah.
depends on so much stuff.
And I mean, I've seen people who live in Japan now, and have done for years, and still make a point of studying Japanese language for an hour a day, because...
There's still so much they could learn to improve.
Yeah, exactly. And I know for a lot of them, when they're there, they tend to fall into the trap of using informal language, because
Yes.
most of the time
They're talking with friends.
Yeah, exactly. So for formal language, which you basically have to use in every business setting, they're at a loss. Because they don't get a chance to practice the formal language as much.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, you know, an issue too. You could be perfectly fluent in that you could communicate with people, but that doesn't mean you're actually being appropriate.
Yeah. Which is, you know, a set of cultural nuances in every culture and language that completely varies.
Yep. I do think one of the reasons that I have picked up as much as I have is because I've watched a lot of different stuff.
You have.
I haven't watched, like, all...
Dang it.
fantasy stuff or all mech stuff, or I do not have one particular. I've watched over 100 things.
Yeah, it runs the gamut.
There's slice of life. There's weird fantasy. There's weird effing strange dark stuff.
You've even watched some weird, like, borderline H stuff, haven't you?
Oh yeah. There's a couple things I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting, and I go and start watching. I'm like, this isn't what I was promised. But because I'm a little
this is boobs. A lot of boobs.
I'm a little bit OCD. I have a hard time not finishing it.
I'm gonna give this another try this episode.
Sweet.
Apple, banana, nana.
Yeah, so I've watched some. Some of it wasn't borderline. Some of it was straight up.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I want to get up there. Banana,
There
nana.
were a couple that were like weird, dark fantasy sounding things. I was like, oh wow. And then as I get into it, I go back and read more detailed descriptions on other sites or something, and find out that it's based on a graphic novel dating game.
Right.
I'm like, oh, that explains a lot of this.
That's why there's the harem aspect.
Yeah, that's why all of a sudden, okay.
Harem stuff gets boring
Really
so quickly.
annoying, yeah.
It's like, oh no, there's a lot of misunderstandings and slapping people and punching people and
stupid.
la da 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 da. Nobody cares. Move
yeah,
on.
pretty much.
Give me
It's
something with an
annoying.
actual story, please.
Are they riding a big, like, panther?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
But yeah, sometimes I just made mistakes.
It happens.
And every once in a while I've watched weird things, I'm like, this isn't lying to me at all, but I'm really curious how they approach this. There was one that was about a high school girl that is, well, she's a teenager, she's super curious about sex, and she has this fantasy about starting high school and having 100 boys as lovers kind of thing.
Whoa.
It's a fantasy, though, because she's a virgin, and I really wanted to know how they approached it, because I thought it was weird, and it was actually kind of interesting, because, you know, some aspects of it were really, more like the other stuff we were talking about, like, but she winds up kind of liking this guy that's sort of plain and normal, and she doesn't quite understand that she likes him, because she's thinking about getting all these hot guys to be...
Right.
And she's curious, but really nervous about it, so whenever anything comes up, she gets really nervous and tense and doesn't know what to do.
Right.
And it was actually, there was a lot to it that was actually very interesting, because it actually approached the fact that a teenage girl can have sexuality and have fantasies about it, and doesn't mean she's immediately ready to hop into bed, even if she doesn't understand that yet.
Which is sadly underrepresented in media.
And some stuff about her learning some things, and her... You know, anyway, I watched it a long time ago, it was before we moved here.
Right.
But I found it was kind of interesting, especially for Japan, to represent that, and I get that part of it was the sexy aspect, like, we're gonna display a girl with sexuality, because that's what boys want to see.
Yeah.
But, they actually did a lot of it almost decently. So you could actually see that, oh yeah, women kind of, they also are sexual.
Women can
sometimes.
get horny, oh my god.
And teenage girls have fantasies.
Can you imagine that?
And it's not all about a guy being nice to her and eating her lunch. It's that she made for him. It's sometimes it's about the naughty.
Sometimes I just want to get down and dirty.
So anyway, sometimes I've seen some descriptions and I'm like, huh. It wasn't really like hardcore or anything. It was on Netflix for a while.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What was the title?
I can't remember.
Oh.
If I saw the title, I'd be able to tell you that that's what it was, but I can't remember what the title was.
Right.
I could probably look it up too.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Fascinating.
I've watched a lot of weird shit.
You really have. It's kind of cool, though. I mean, it gives you an interesting perspective, because that's another thing I think people overlook about you can't learn anything about Japan from watching anime. You might not be able to master the language, but you can learn a lot about a culture from what is in their media.
Yeah.
You can learn a lot about... Well, I mean, there's entire degrees devoted to media studies, basically, and that's exactly it. You look at media and you go, what does this say about the culture that created it?
Yeah,
That is a thing!
See, that's just the thing, is people also think that everything you learn from anime is exactly what happened in the anime, but that's not always the case. Sometimes what happened in it, it's more how they portray it that teaches you about the culture. That usually means that you have to go digging a little deeper than just watching the anime.
Yeah.
You usually have to go, why did they do that? That's weird. But then often you'll find out, oh, they always present it like this because of this cultural thing, or you saw this particular kind of thing because of, like the eggplant thing.
The eggplant thing?
I've watched a few anime where, like, at New Year's, they were talking about the eggplant.
Oh,
and I was
okay.
like, what the hell is up with the damn eggplant?
Right, for the Hatsuyume.
Yeah, so sometimes it's something that's so prevalent in their culture that it doesn't require explanation, so they just put it in there.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's the way a thing is portrayed, and harkens back to some weird thing in the past. You know, anyway, you can learn a lot that way, too.
Definitely.
It's very cool.
That's one of the things I like a lot about learning about culture in general, because I don't remember if I've mentioned on the show before, but I'm really hoping to go to university in the fall. If student loans come through, please, I hope to God they come through.
Yeah, we're almost to the middle of August now, and we still haven't heard anything.
Yeah, hey government, get on this.
To piss me off.
Yeah, but what I want to study is anthropology, which is basically the study of societies and culture. Because it's fascinated me for a long time. And like I'm super excited at the possible ability to do that, so I'm really hoping those student loans come through, because there's no way in hell I can afford this on my own. It's like $7,000 a year. Yeah. And that's not including transportation and books.
And that's not something I can afford to pay for, unfortunately.
No. Someday when we're rich, I can be a, full-time permanent student. Like, my entire job is going to university.
That would be kind of awesome.
That has basically been, like, this dream fantasy of mine since I realized people do that.
I have to admit, if I suddenly, became a multimillionaire, I probably wouldn't bother. I mean, not that I wouldn't bother necessarily going and learning more things, but I probably wouldn't bother becoming a professional student.
Yeah.
I'd just go to school when I wanted to.
Yeah. And it sounds weird, like, you almost think, why on earth would anyone do that? Because, what's the point in learning all that stuff if you're not actually going to use it? And what I learned is that some universities will, sort of make a deal with you in that regard. You're basically willing to get a free ride and boost their standing, because, university standings, they're better when their students get good marks.
Yeah.
So if they have a couple of people there who are basically upping the average of the university to attract more people, they'll basically be like, yeah, okay, we'll make a deal with you where you can take all the classes you want for as long as you want, for free.
They're like university honors minors or something,
yeah, so, like, that, as soon as I found out that some schools did that, I was like, this is my dream. I want to be a professional student whose job is basically to boost the standing of a university. I would be happy as a fucking clam.
Are clams really that happy?
Well, they're kind of smiley.
Where did that one come from?
I don't
Maybe it is just because they're smiley, but I don't know, I don't see it that way, because when they're smiley, you're sort of ripping their shell open.
Well, when you put it that way, I'm disturbed.
Yeah, it's kind of disturbing.
Yeah, it is now that you mention it.
And it's not like the sticking out like a sore thumb one.
Have you ever seen a thumb and gone, wow, that baby is sore?
Because sore thumb does stick out.
Yeah.
Because you don't want it to touch everything else.
Exactly.
Yep, too many thoughts.
Yep. I don't think I'm gonna make this one anyway, but I'm gonna give it woo valiant effort.
You did steal that, like, freight line or whatever the heck it was.
Oh, go me.
You weren't trying to?
No.
Okay. It looked like you specifically were trying to. It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh wow, you rolled up that big giant rock.
I did.
You're not big enough to roll up those islands yet.
Not yet.
Oh, you're getting there. Like, how the hell are you big enough to roll up those giant stones in the water, but not the little bits of island?
I don't even know. Oh,
You were saying before about logic, I guess.
maybe I might make it?
How many times do I have to teach you about that first?
I don't know. At least one more. Neener. I did it.
You did do it! Yay!
Yeah.
Your Katamari is as big as 75 mustard islands! Why you would need 75 mustard islands, I don't know.
Did they actually make mustard on mustard islands?
I don't know, it just said mustard islands. Your thing is as big as 75 of these.
Well, that was stupid.
For all I know, it's just his crazy name for it.
Yeah, really.
That one's mustard island.
This one is poo-poo head. Well,
You made it.
I was hoping to get to 1,000, but
You made
I
it.
still made it. This was a long episode.
It sure
and
was.
If you stuck with us, thank you.
You
'cause
are awesome!
Yes, you are awesome, and you are now an honorary adult.
Hooray!
Your certificate is in the mail. Don't believe anyone who says it isn't. Want fries with that? No, I'm full, thanks.
Fries.
Lots of energy. I was supposed to get energy. A mere 881 meters. Well, fuck you.
Jerk.
Yeah, you are a jerk. Looks like you managed to get some stuff.
And the top thing is always what he asked for, and he's always like, "It's not enough."
Yeah, 48 points. What do you want? Like a 2-kilometer Katamari?
You're a jerk!
2-kilometer Mari?
Jerk.
Nine.
Jerk.
Nine. Oh, peso.
Peso. Yeah,
Peso.
I recognize peso.
Yeah. Nine.
That is weird.
Yes, it is.
I guess the cousins have always been kind of weird.
I guess they have, yeah. Anywho, I don't know if we'll play more of this later. It might be one of those games that we keep on backup for times where we really can't be bothered to do anything else.
Yeah.
But come see us again on Monday. We'll be playing something. That much I can promise.
Yeah.
Okay, next time.
Bye.
Bye.